Gather round, boys and girls, because the most wonderful time of the year is finally upon us. The air is filled with anticipation, and before we know it, we'll wake up to the most magical gift of them all. The gift of Minecraft Championship. That's right, baby. MCC 13 is only a few days away, and I am pumped. Not only because this competition is bound to be insane, but also because I have once again predicted each team's placement using nothing but cold, hard numbers. This is my most comprehensive analysis to date, so if you enjoy it, consider leaving a like and all that good stuff because it helps out a lot, obviously. Yeah, let's get to it. Actually, before we get into it, your boy's gotta flex a bit. I posted this analysis to the Minecraft Championship subreddit a few days ago, and PeteZahHutt himself read it.
MCC 13 team predictions using nothing but stats. I love when people post, like, statistic stuff, when it's kind of like them making up their own new way, and like, you know, these are the kind of posts I love to see on the subreddit. Well, pack it up. That's the most in-depth analysis you need. See you in Dodgeball. Look at the effort that people go through, man. I love this. This is so wholesome. Running to pizza, the name.
So yeah, if you had any doubts about the quality of this analysis, throw those in the trash, alright? Because this is good. Anyway, now let's get to it. So, what makes this analysis better than all of the other ones that I've done in the past? Well, a lot of things, but mainly the fact that before, I always would look at people's placements to determine their ability in each minigame. But the problem is, that's not a very accurate measure of people's ability. It's inaccurate because, let's say you have a scenario where someone completely demolishes a game, right? They score 200 more coins than second place. They obviously won, right? They got first place in that minigame. But then let's also say we have someone who barely squeaked out of first place in a minigame, right? They won by 2 coins, okay? In terms of placements, they both did the same because they both got first place. But obviously, the person who scored 200 more coins than second place did a lot better than the person who only scored 2 more coins. So you'd think that, obviously, if you want to look at how well a person did in the minigame, you look at the coins, you don't look at the placement. But here's the problem with that. Let's say you have a person who's pretty average in 2 different minigames, okay? They score, let's say, around 20th place. One minigame, in this hypothetical scenario, usually gives around 200 coins per person. The other minigame gives around 300 coins. Based on placements, you can tell that this person is, you know, the same ability over both minigames. But if you just look at the coins that they earned, it would seem that, oh, they earned more coins in minigame B, the second minigame. That must mean that they're better in that minigame. Whereas it isn't that, it's just that that minigame gives more coins to everyone. That's why I was using placements, because it's standardized. But what if I told you that there was a way to get a standardized look at how well people do across all minigames, while also using people's coin total for those minigames? Well, turns out there is. Obviously, if there wasn't, I wouldn't be doing this whole spiel explanation thing. Whatever. Here's how it's done. Let's take a minigame. So here, MCC1 hole in the wall. What you do is you add up all of the scores, everybody's score, everyone's coin total from that, and, you know, you get 10,556. So that's how many coins were dished out in total for MCC1 hole in the wall. Divide that by the number of participants in each minigame, which is always going to be 40, and you get the average coin total. And divide each person's score in the minigame by the average score. So, let's say Michael McChill, he won MCC1 hole in the wall. So, 1,056 coins is what he earned, divided by the average coin total, so 263.9. Boom. Do that for all of the contestants, and you get each person's score for that minigame. So if you were average, you got a score of 1. Everyone who's above average gets above 1. Everyone who's below average gets below 1. So if you got a score of 2, like Kratzy did, that means you got twice as many coins as the average person for that minigame. So that's pretty good. The numbers you see here are completely reliant on the coin total for each person. So it's completely based on that, but it's also standardized. So you just do that for every single minigame, and boom, you have every single person's score for each minigame across all MCCs. Simple. Well, not so simple. It's actually a very long process, a very long and tedious process that honestly made me question my sanity. Do not try this at home. It sucks. Then locate all the scores for every single person participating in this upcoming MCC, and one brain aneurysm later, you'll have a chart that looks like this. So while this data is pretty cool to look at, it's not nearly enough to make a prediction. Not quite yet. There's a couple other things that I wanted to put in there before I could consider myself done. First, I wanted to look at how much weight each minigame has on the tournaments on average, right? Because the way it works is that the minigames that are played towards the beginning are actually worth fewer coins than the games that are played towards the end. And obviously for some minigames, they'll get chosen whenever, there's no real pattern there. But other minigames, no, there is a pattern. Like for example, Sands of Time, always chosen towards the end of the tournament. That's like a tradition now, right? Whereas games like Sky Battle, usually chosen towards the beginning. Survival games, usually chosen never. So, you know, there is a pattern for a lot of these minigames. So what I did was I went back, and for every MCC, I looked at what the coin multiplier was for each minigame, got the average for each minigame, and so I was left with this chart right here. If you want to see it visualized, boom, here you go. So we got Sands of Time on top with a 2.625 coin multiplier. That is a lot of coins. Parkour Tag, 2.5. Wouldn't really worry too much about that though, because it's only been played once, so it's not really all that statistically significant. All the way down to survival games, which it's been played at the beginning, it's been played at the end, but the reason why the coin multiplier is so low is because it's rarely played, so yeah. So that's fun. The other thing I looked at was the average coins that were earned per team per minigame. Now, this one is a little bit trickier to look at because some games have been modified over time, and those modifications have affected the amount of coins that are given out in those games. For example, Build Mart, right? Remember Build Mart? Pretty fun game, depending on who you ask. Some people don't like it. I like it. It used to give out a lot of coins, right? In MCC 5, it gave out 14.5 thousand coins in total for all the teams. In MCC 6, it gave out 16,000, whereas the average for a lot of these games is usually right around 10,000. So it was getting mad points. Then they changed the number of building plots in Build Mart from 4 to 3. And after that, the average amount of coins plummeted from the 16,000 to around 8 to 9,000. So when calculating the average number of coins given per team, I just use the numbers from after that change happened, because I'm assuming that it's going to stay the same. So yeah, you got all the minigames here. Look at the average coin total. You see that most of the minigames are all around the same. All around, well, 1,000 per team. 10 teams means 10,000 coins total. Except Build Mart, as I said, a lot lower. Sands of Time, a lot higher. Now, Sands of Time is interesting because it depends on how the dungeon is generated, right? How the rooms are generated. If they're easy, if they're hard, if they give a lot of coins, if they don't. So sometimes Sands of Time will give you 8,000 coins in total, where other times it'll give 16,000 coins in total. So the average is higher, but it could be anywhere, man. It could be, you know, a really low scoring game. It could be a really high scoring game. So once you've calculated all of that, there's only two things left to do. First, you take the average score of each person on every team, right? And you average those out. So for the Red Reindeer, that's Quig, Mefs, LD Xiaolei, Catherine Elizabeth. Take the average of their scores for a hole in the wall. Boom, you get the team's average score. 1.12 for hole in the wall, 1.13 for ace race, etc., etc. So you multiply those by the average game weight for each minigame, by the average coins that are given per minigame. Multiply those, you get a lot of coins. Add those up, you get even more coins. Boom, coins, yay. So now that I've told you the process, here are my MCC 13 predictions based only on the stats. In 10th place, we have the Sapphire Santas. Man, I love this team, right? The Simmers, you can tell they're having so much fun when they play this tournament, right? They play The Sims, so Minecraft isn't their main game, so of course they're going to be at a severe disadvantage, but they don't care. They're just here to have fun. Whatever happens, I hope they have a strat up their sleeves, just like their busted battle box strat, but yeah, these guys are awesome. Coming in 9th place is the Yellow Yetis. You know, this team, I really want to see them prove my predictions wrong, man. I hate seeing them in 9th place. H-Bomb is such a valuable asset to any team he's on. He's like the team player, the embodiment of a good team player. Smallish Beans, he can do really well in games like Bingo. It's tough. It's because all these other teams also are really good. That's the problem. Yellow, their best games are definitely going to be Build Mart, also Ace Race, you know, Sands of Time. So if those games get picked later, then, you know, maybe they have a chance. But games like Bingo usually don't have much impact on the tournament. So that might be why the Yellow Yetis are ranked so low. 8th place, we are giving to the Mint Mistletoes. I'm very interested to see how this team performs, because this is the only team that has a new player, Ludwig. It's got Fruit Berries, who is just a legend at MCC. George Not Found, fresh off of his second victory in terms of the teams last MCC. Carl Jacobs, 100% win rate. I don't know why the stats put them in 8th place. Like, we've got a back-to-back winner and a 100% winner, but the stats are the stats, man. I don't have any control. 7th place goes to the Emerald Elves. This team is going to be so chaotic, and I absolutely love it, okay? We got Tommy in it, who, when he wants to do well, he excels. Finn is pretty new, so that might hurt him in terms of the stats. Tubbo's really good at Minecraft just in general. CPK is actually really consistent. We're at the point now where teams that, you know, place here are pretty good and also have a pretty good shot at making Dodgebolt, even if the stats put them in 6th, just because all these teams are so balanced. So I still would not be surprised to see this team, or really any of these teams, make Dodgebolt. In 6th place, we have the Cyan Candy Canes. This is another team that is going to be hilarious to watch. Very loud, but very awesome. Phil and Wilbur have teamed together so often in these MCCs, but that's just because they mesh so well together. Same for all of these guys. I think the chemistry on this team is going to be through the roof, which usually helps. If the stats hold true, this team is going to just wreck Rocket Spleef. Alright, we got Fundy, who really did well in Rocket Spleef last MCC. Philza always is a Rocket Spleef god. They want Rocket Spleef towards the end of the tournament, because that's going to help them out a lot. Coming in at 5th place, we've got the Coral Carolers. So up to this point, I've agreed with the results from this statistical analysis. I've thought, yeah, I could see these teams coming in those places. That changes here. I think Coral in 5th is... No, that's too low. That's too low. Too low. I understand why it happened, though. We have Wisp, who's brand new. Usually, your first time in MCC isn't going to be as good as the next few times, so that probably hurt this team in terms of the rankings. Dan TDM, I think he's played twice, but that's still fairly new. So, yeah, I think it's just the fact that a couple of these guys on this team are new. Gobbling their way into 4th place, we have the Teal Turkeys. This is another team that was hurt by the fact that 2 of its players were new last time, Illumina and Puns. I definitely could see them getting into Dodgeball. I could see these guys winning in terms of coins and in terms of, like, just the tournament as a whole. Illumina, speedrunning legend, Puns, and Krinios, and Air, all of them are good. They're all good. I'm, like, reading off the names. They're all good. I'm excited to see what they do. Dashing through the snow into 3rd place are the Red Reindeer. This was a surprise to me, for sure, but on second thought, it actually kind of makes sense that Red Reindeer would be placed this high. Quig, amazing. Amazing player. Arguably the best in the tournament. Meths, also really good. Kind of underrated, partly because he doesn't play as much. LD Shadow Lady and Catherine Elizabeth, also really good. Also, I think a little underrated. I probably personally wouldn't have put them at 3rd, but I could easily see them placing 3rd or higher. Easily. Coming in with a 2nd place finish and a bid to Dodgeball are the Purple Penguins. I love this team so much. PeteZahHutt, obviously a god at MCC, at just everything about MCC. False Symmetry and Green, both from Hermitcraft, also really good at the game. Kara Corvus, also really good at the game. I totally understand why this team was 2nd place in terms of stats, because they're good. They're really good. It looks like their best games are survival games and Rocket Spleef, but they also are very consistent throughout the tournament. They're all of their average scores are above average, except for 2, Battle Box and Sky Battle, both of the intense, like, PvP type games. If those games are played early and or skipped, then this team, I think, has a very good chance of just, demolishing as a team, getting even above our 1st place team. And finally, taking home the dub, at least in terms of coins, the Pink Presents! Well, guys, we're finally gonna do it. If the stats hold true, we're finally gonna break Captain Sparkle's 3rd place curse. That wasn't actually a curse to begin with because curses don't exist, but whatever. The Reddit loves to say there's a curse. I'll go along with it. Let's break the curse. But yeah, no, this team is really good. Really good. In terms of average score, there is no minigame where this team is below average. They are above average in every single minigame, which this is the only team that can say that. Okay, so that is a testament right there to how good they are. I think this team is well-rounded. I think they've got the best shot at taking the dub. And apparently so do the stats. So that's pretty cool. Well, there you have it. Those were my MCC 13 team predictions based on nothing but stats. Will they be 100% accurate? Probably not. But, I mean, the fun of it is looking at the data, making up these mathematical kind of formula, whatever, to solve the problem at hand. So, it doesn't need to be accurate. Thank you to PeteZahHutt for liking my Reddit post. And thank you to all of you for watching this far. And until next time, guys, I will see you later. Bye-bye.